Hi, my name is David Roman, and today I'll be giving a speech called Love Your Planet, a call to action. In many places around the world, the air is hot, heavy, and depending on the day, clogged with particulate pollution. Your eyes often water. Your cough never seems to disappear. You can no longer simply walk out your front door and breathe in fresh air. Instead, before opening your doors and windows in the morning, you need to check your phone to see what the air quality is like. Everything might look fine, sunny and clear, but that is not the case. When storms and heat waves overlap and cluster, air pollution and surface ozone levels make it dangerous to walk outside without a specifically designed face mask, which only a few can afford. If you really take a moment to think, this is an anecdote from an article called "What the World Will Look Like in 2050 If We Do Not Cut Carbon Emissions in Half." If you really take a moment to think about 2050, this is not what you would expect. Some of you may have a new family, maybe grandchildren, or maybe even a new beachfront retirement home. All these things will be tremendously affected by climate change. Today, I'm going to explain the upcoming climate crisis, the specific reasons for the climate crisis, the life-threatening effects it may have on the world as we know it, what we can do to make sure we never see our planet on its knees due to our irresponsible ways of living as a civilization. The history of fossil fuels. Fossil fuels have been used to produce energy for all forms of our living conditions for almost 200 years. It was in the 1880s when coal was first used to generate electricity for homes and factories. By 1961, coal had become the major fuel used to generate electricity in the United States. Research conducted by the U.S. Energy Information Administration shows that in 2020, about 60% of the electricity generation was from fossil fuels, which include coal, natural gas, petroleum, and other gases. The issue with using fossil fuels is that when they're burned to produce energy, large amounts of carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases are released into the atmosphere, which causes global warming, which in turn causes drastic climate change, which could affect the existence of humanity. Greenhouse gases like carbon dioxide trap heat in the atmosphere by what is called the greenhouse gas effect, which in turn causes global warming, which can have extremely dire effects. Although burning fossil fuels causes greenhouse gas emissions, there are other factors that cause greenhouse gas emissions. An exaggerated increase in animal agriculture has also caused an increase in emissions such as nitrous oxide and methane. One molecule of methane will trap 21 times more heat than carbon dioxide, while one molecule of nitrous oxide will trap 310 times more heat than carbon dioxide. Deforestation is another cause of an increase in greenhouse gas emissions. When trees are cut down and burned and not allowed to rot, their stored carbon is released into the air as carbon dioxide. Now that I have discussed the problems with upcoming climate crisis and what has caused the upcoming climate crisis, now I will discuss its dire effects. Most importantly, due to greenhouse gases, temperatures will rise dramatically. Scientists from the United States and other countries forecast a temperature rise of 2.5 to 10 degrees Fahrenheit over the next century. The Arctic ice caps that are a vital protection from global heating are projected to melt by the middle of the 21st century. Because of this, the oceans are projected to rise another 1 to 8 feet by 2100. More moisture in the air and higher sea surface temperatures have caused a surge in extreme hurricanes and tropical storms. Melting permafrost is releasing ancient microbes that today's humans have never been exposed to, and as a result, have no resistance to. Diseases spread by mosquitoes and ticks are rampant, and as these species flourish in the changed climate, spreading to previously safe parts of the planet, increasingly overwhelming us. This does not sound like a future we would like to live in. If we take the measures that we need to make sure that the climate crisis stops, then we can continue to live in our beautiful Earth. Our beautiful Earth does not have to become this way. There are things we can do to stop it. Like, for instance, we should make our international governments do something to make fossil fuels less prevalently used to create electricity, and instead use more safer forms of energy, like renewable forms of energy. Renewable forms of energy include solar power, hydroelectric power, wind turbines, and nuclear power plants. In 15 minutes, the sun radiates as much energy as people use in all forms of an entire year. The energy from the sun, also known as solar power, can directly be turned into electricity by solar cells, which make up solar panels. Light from the sun can also be reflected off a mirror to operate a boiler to create steam and spin a turbine to produce electricity. Here are renewable forms of energy that use hydroelectric power. The most common form of producing hydroelectric power is the use of river dams. Behind the dam is a large reservoir of water that can pass through a channel in the dam that has a turbine that is spun by the rushing water. When the turbine is spun, it converts the energy of water to mechanical energy that powers the generator. Pump storage is a method of keeping water in a reservoir and reserve for peak period of demands by pumping water that has already flowed through the turbines back up a storage pool above the power plant at a time when customer demand for energy is low, such as during the nighttime. The water is then allowed to flow back through the turbine generators at times when demand is high and a heavy load is placed on the system, creating more electricity. Renewable forms of energy that use the power of wind. Wind turbines work on a simple principle. Instead of using electricity to power a fan, wind turbines use wind to make electricity. Wind turns a propeller like blades of a turbine around a rotor which spins the generator, which creates electricity. Here's what you can do to take action. Stop fighting the fossil fuel industry by buying an electric car that doesn't use gas. Change your ways of consuming energy by installing solar panels on the roof of your home instead of using the grid, which is powered by non-renewable resources. Support the scientific community, which is conducting countless research to bring our climate crisis to an end. Now that you've seen what you can do, I demand to see you do what you can to save our beautiful planet, and not just for the benefit of yourself, but also for the benefit of your kids, grandchildren, and generations to come.